You do have a quorum, Dr. Garcia.
Oh, great.
Okay. We're live. You can call the meeting. I'll pull the agenda right now.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May Citizen Police Review Board monthly meeting. And we're going to start with the agenda. Everybody should have received their minutes from the last meeting. Everybody have an opportunity to look at them. And if there, someone has a motion to accept the minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Dalen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Terry. Discussion? All in favor by aye? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Beth, if you would go right into your report, please.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody as we seem to have actually come into some fair weather. My report will be very short tonight. And actually, I'm going to share it with Mr. Ward. We have some news that Mr. Ward is moving on. He's accepted an offer that no one in their right mind would decline. We're very, very proud of him. And it's not my story to tell, Mr. Ward, so you go right ahead.
Thank you, Beth. Members of the board, every now and then, like every 7 or 8 years, I get a niche that needs to be scratched. And I am finding myself in the very happy position of being able to accept a position with the Office of Inspector General of the United States Department of Energy. I will be a federal prosecutor as an attorney advisor to the Inspector General, but will also be admitted to the courts nationally as a special assistant United States attorney, where I would be investigating and, where appropriate, prosecuting individuals or organizations who have committed fraud against the government, particularly with reference to the billions of dollars that have been allocated to the United States Department of Energy. As part of various pieces of legislation over the past few years, the Department of Energy is in the position to offer funding for energy efficient programs and myriads of other programs. But because of the amount of money involved, that is a situation where the Inspector General has to be vigilant with respect to areas of waste, fraud, and abuse regarding those applications for federal funds. So I am one of 2 in the United States who will be charged with this responsibility. Although I'll be assigned to the Pittsburgh District Office of the Inspector General, I have no idea where I'll be next week in terms of the schedule or the allocation of duties that I'll be sharing with a colleague from Rochester. So it's exciting for me. I didn't get much notice, and as soon as I got it, I provided it informally to Ms. Pittenger and recently to Dr. Garcia. So it caused me to take a peek at the agreement that we entered into repeatedly on behalf of Rothman Gordon as the consultant and with the city of Pittsburgh on behalf of the Citizen Police Review Board. So I went to the provision that deals with termination, and that's really one-sided. It provides opportunities for the board to fire me or to terminate my agreement. It doesn't provide the mechanism or the remedy you might think in a situation like this where someone is moving on. What it does have, however, is a provision that deals with assignment. And I am able, as your consultant, to assign my work or this contract or in some cases, if I were to stay, I could subcontract it as long as I have written consent from the CPRB. So there's no, as I said, mechanism for me to terminate my role. All I can do is assign the consultant's interests in the agreement to another attorney or to another firm. Beth, should I continue with my story about the due diligence that I tried here? Okay.
Sure.
Thank
you.
Because of the history of the board and frankly, my very proud service for over 15 years, I thought of other solicitors who might have been tempted to come back out of retirement to undertake their previous roles as solicitor. So I did reach out to 2 former solicitors, and they were unable to accept the position. I then thought about it long and hard and thought of a third attorney who I know not only as opposing counsel years ago, but as an ally in the representation of individuals on the autism spectrum who find themselves sadly entangled in the web of the criminal justice system, as well as his reputation for civil rights in the area of police brutality, as well as employment discrimination. I reached out to Ms. Pittenger and suggested the name, and it would be my intent, assuming that I would have the consent for such an assignment, to name Alec Wright as my successor as your solicitor.
Madam Chair, I would concur with the recommendation Mr. Ward is making. Mr. Wright is very successful and very well known as a civil rights advocate. And he's worked with a number of local nonprofits. He's done a lot of pro bono work. And I believe he's a chair of at the bar, Mr. Ward, of the Civil Rights Division of the local bar association. He comes very highly recommended from Mr. Ward, and I can say from my own experience with Mr. Wright, he would be a tremendous asset to us, and I think we could have confidence that he would represent us extraordinarily well. There are no words that we can say to Mr. Ward except congratulations, and we're so very, very proud of having been associated with you for so many years. You have done a tremendous job protecting this board's interest, pursuing that which is right, especially in line with the mission of the board. And I mean, I've certainly grown to rely on you. I'm going to miss you terribly, but I am so very, very happy for you, Bill.
Well, I'm only a phone call away. And the good news is that even though my scope will be national, my office will be local. I have to find it. I'm pretty sure it's in South Park, but I'll leave a trail of breadcrumbs from downtown Pittsburgh to South Park to be able to get to the district office. It's been a wonderful 15 years. It's been interrupted with government service. I had 8 years with Tiemann and Ward, and then later with Ward McGough, McGough being the Judge McGough of the Family Division of the Court of Common Pleas. And that was interrupted by my return to Harrisburg as Chief of Staff to the Governor, who then later appointed me to the bench for the Court of Common Pleas of Allegheny County for 3 years. It's not my intent to share my resume, so to speak, but as soon as I got back to private practice 8 years ago, I was hoping that my path and the path of this board would coincide. And fortunately, when Elizabeth Kalora moved on to a different position, I was able to help and to serve this board. So I'm still here through Friday.
Well, now we joke. We joke about it. It's like the Hotel California. So
I'll be checking
we
out.
will find you. We will find you.
And Bill, on behalf of the board, you did a yeoman's job in helping us through 15 years of sometimes pretty strenuous work, but you did it on our behalf, and thank you so very much for your service.
It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
You. So, board,
Mr.
Um,
Davis has his hand up.
I don't, okay, thank you. I'm not seeing that. Yes, Dalen?
I just wanted to say to Mr. Ward, congratulations. I know we've had very brief interactions since I've come on board, but they've been positive interactions. And I do hate to see you go, and just thank you for your service to this body for over the many, many years you've been here.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I want to commend all the newest members of the board that you folks have picked up without missing a step. You hit the ground running, and I am impressed by the service that you, Ms. Fields, Mr. Kotler, have rendered to the board in such a short period of time. So I hope you maintain that enthusiasm and keep the momentum, because it's so critically important that your input is heard.
Thank you, Mr. Ward, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Likewise, thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you, Greg.
Good luck.
Thank you much. I've already taken the plaques off the wall, so it's just,
okay.
might as well just try to muddle my way through the rest of the week. But it's something that I hope I've earned your trust and confidence, and hopefully your approval and consent to my recommendation for Mr. Wright.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much. So Beth, we'd have to send a letter. Is that correct? Is that the, Mr. Ward, I should ask you, do we send you a letter?
Well, what I did before this meeting, I sent an email. Some of it's repetitive because I've sent previous emails and had conversations with several people. All I would need is something in writing, so a reply email in response to what I sent at 4:55 would be adequate.
Okay.
Just something so we don't miss anything on June 1st, so to speak.
Board,
Continuity. Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead, Beth.
No, that's okay.
So, board members, is there any discussion?
Is it a possibility for us to, I don't know the mechanics of this, but is it a possibility to hold off as far as an offer until we can at least have a conversation with the recommended person?
Unfortunately, we only have days. So I don't think it's in our best interest to wait. Being without a solicitor would not be in our best interest. So unfortunately, given the timing, we just got to move quickly. If you want to do your research, you'll find him to be a very a good match for the. And again, as Mr. Ward said, he took some time here to do the research to find it, because that is his responsibility.
Theoretically, Mr. Davis, it's my assignment,
Oh.
which is subject for your approval. And it's even vague in that sense. It just says the CPRB approval. So I would say that when this agreement or contract expires, it's a jump ball, for anyone who would be coming in. But when I'm reminded of Abe Lincoln in 1864 election, since this is an election year, saying don't change horses in the middle of the stream. And I get it, but unfortunately I've jumped off my horse and swim into the shore, but I want to keep you folks dry. And I think my assignment was based on really careful consideration of potential candidates out here. And in fact, I thought, I'm not looking inside my firm. That's how important this is to me. And I wanted to make sure that you had top shelf quality people who would be under consideration. And that's why I went first to the prior solicitors, and then when they were unable to serve, to Mr. Alec Wright.
So I just want to be clear, for my own sanity's point of sake, it's just to fill the remaining term of your existing contract that you would be assigning to Mr. Wright. And then when the contract is terminated, then that would be presented back to the body as far as who that selection process would be.
That's correct.
That's correct. I think that's true. The reason why I'm not pausing or hesitating, but qualifying if I think it's true, it's just I've been retained for I don't know how many cycles now. So I think it's a new day in that sense when this term expires. But yes, the first part is completely correct, that I look at it as an assignment of my existing contract with the city / CPRB to make sure that you're duly protected. And I think Dr. Gershio is correct. You really don't want to be fooling around, and that came out wrong. You really don't want to be delaying the start of service of a new solicitor. Even though I fully understand what you're saying, Mr. Davis, about, well, who is this guy? You know, and I think you'll find out, hopefully and happily, at the June board meeting, whether he's a keeper or not down the road. I think he will be.
I appreciate you, Mr. Ward. I will also maybe put an ask out there, Dr. Gruccio and Ms. Pittenger, and include specifically to you, Mr. Ward, because you have been here so long. I know Ms. Pittenger is putting together a training class for the newest board members. If at some point in date and time that date is selected, even though we know that you'll no longer be here, would you mind, since you still are in the area, coming to that class? Because again, I think because you still have a historical context and knowledge of this body, that will be prevalent for that specific training, if that's possible.
I'll look into it. I can't say categorically one way or another. I do know that I can tell you this, that I was tentatively selected months ago, but had to go through a national security background clearance to get a top secret approval for this position because of the importance and significance of it. My concern is that I wouldn't want to commit myself to something and then, you know, have to pull out due to the command of work for the Inspector General. So I'll look into it gladly to see what I can do, but I'm not trying to commit myself prematurely.
Absolutely not. That's all I have to say, Dr. Gruccio.
Thank you. All right. So Beth, we give you the authorization to forward to a response to Mr. Ward's email.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm looking here.
I want to
Unfortunately,
reassure.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Gershon. I just want to reassure, especially for Mr. Davis, that the training session that you speak of, that's going to be fairly generic in terms of the role and responsibilities of board members, and that's what's been contained in your guide, the guiding documents that we provided everyone upon appointment to the board. The legal side of it, I will be briefing Mr. Wright. I think I have a pretty good handle on where we've been, where we're going, and how we can get there. And Mr. Wright will join us for that session, hopefully. So we'll have that opportunity, and we can also get a fresh view of the board's position from our new solicitor. And we'll go from there. But it's not going to be a matter of a lengthy opportunity for, for a training session for, I'm not quite sure for what, other than just going over those general role based on the rules and the code that we have to abide by. But it will be an opportunity for everybody to have that kind of exposure and discussion about the litigation that got us to where we are now for the benefit of our new solicitor. So it'll be, we end up with an opportunity here that otherwise probably would not present itself.
Thank you.
That's all, Dr. Gershon.
Thank you. I've got to head back to work here. Mr. Kotler, would you be so kind as to step in and be the chair for the rest of this meeting? I think it's going to be brief. There's not a whole lot. But if you would be so kind as to do so, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I've actually never chaired a meeting. If I could pass that baton along to somebody with more experience, if available.
Mr. Williams is not here. Mr. Robinson's not here. I'm doing this from my phone.
Dr. Gershio, I'm sorry to interrupt you, But
Yes.
upon your departure, we will lose a quorum.
Okay,
So I don't think we can take care of cases tonight if we don't have a quorum.
okay. Alrighty, so
So
if you would, yeah, if you would just continue with informationals, because we can't vote on anything tonight. So
I can
you're
go, I
ready.
can go ahead and finish along the meeting if needed, but as stated, we will lose quorum.
Is there other information, Beth, that you would like to share while Mr. Kotler is gonna chair you to a very short meeting?
No, just year to date, we've received 83 complaints or engagements with people having issues with their relationship with the police. That's I have some miscellaneous things, but nothing that's really terribly critical. No.
Alrighty. So given that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second,
Everyone's on mute.
I guess I got lost as far as we are adjourning the meeting and
Yeah.
at least not hearing the cases.
that's correct. When I leave, I have to leave for a work issue. We will
Yeah.
not have quorum. And without quorum, we cannot do cases. They will
Yeah.
move to the June meeting.
Okay, I will.
Chair.
Yes,
Madam Chair, I mean, we've done in the past where we've lost quorum or we haven't formed quorum. If members have any issues, concerns, or interests related to any case that would otherwise be reviewed with an expected vote tonight, we can answer that. We can have that discussion. It just means that there's no formal vote recorded for the action taken on the case. And I believe, Mr. Ward, that is consistent with past practice.
It is. It is.
We
will
don't have
there,
anything up for a public hearing. You do require 4 votes for a public hearing, and there is nothing proposed for a public hearing for your review tonight.
yeah, that was, yeah, on the cases, there was none. Does anybody have any questions about the cases? Hearing none, there's still a motion on the floor that needs for adjournment, second.
I did
We have a-
second.
Oh, thank you, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, folks, and we'll see everybody in June. Have a good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night. Be safe.
Good night.